Hello. Episode 5 of Dick Moby begins now. The descent into madness continues, unabated. How are you? How are you coping with all the isolation and the obsession and the loneliness and the desperation of the open sea with the threat of giant blubbery monsters beset on each side by Ahab and his crew? It's exciting, isn't it? More exciting than real life at the moment, and everybody's stuck in. Yes, hello, welcome to Dick Moby. We're going to carry on from. We finished chapter 127 last time. We're going to carry on to chapter 126. If this is your first time along, I'm literally unreading Moby Dick. I'm reading it backwards. From end to start, word for word, in its entirety. Moby Dick of 1851 is the worst book I've ever read, and the only book that I think I've ever read that I wish I could unread. It occurs to me that I can unread it. I've got plenty of time to unread it. We all have plenty of time. We can undo the mistakes of the past and take advantage of this period of lockdown, this enforced separation. Maybe we can all come together and help each other and heal our wounds inflicted by Herman Melville with harpoons. So let's get right to it, shall we? Well, how appropriate. It to let's marling spike and pitch pot, caulking iron, hammer come. Sun the beneath often very seen not sighter. Coffin one for fighting all fellows lively 30 be they'll. Down go hull the if then. Coffin the to round all hanging long feet 3 each. Lifelines Turks headed. Separate 30 me have I'll. Weigh any forgotten I've but. Told all. Company ships the in many how. See let's. Me have I'll. Tenderly now. Job the do I'll. Hem. Can we if it stash? We then and cobbling confounded too be it unless work hour of wherefore and why the ask to us for not profit the by or job the by or month the by work we hearses and coffins as well as card tables and bridal bedsteads make woods in workers we mind never but tray graveyard with stout with about sailing coffin with cupboard budge don't I hemlock a roostook. What sort of word is that? Hemlock a roostook naughty made I'm but. Job the do would they rigging the in up tide be wood now carpenter's old superstitious some coffin with before done things such ever were stern ships that over snap spring the with it hang and tight down them batten pitch with same that overpay seams the cork lid the down nail see me let snow caps but see at caps no that are there hey ho but me with off run to heads old lonely there into it taken have might they vineyard the in job shop my kept I when ashore women old widow lonely for work would never I reason that's and once tinker young bald-headed with away ran who 65 of woman old and no I tinkers for have women old all affection and what Lord jobs cobbling giving be to tricks woman's old that it's end the at beginning how appropriate end the at beginning the at and middle the in end and at that's job cobblers are not conclusion the at end and to comes and midway when middle the at is and beginning the at begins regularly that's something jobs mathematical fair and square virgin clean but non-hand in take to like I betters there are we tinkerings do brats tinkers let I've lost my place. Tinkers, let's place my not its, undignified its, all at it like, don't I? Business of sort cobbling this like, don't I? Now side other the on flesh the bring to going, coat old and turning like it of life boy make to ordered I'm now and coffin that with nothing for go to pains my all are. It into head his put won't he and queequeg for bandbox make I but gentleman I like it was he and Ahab captain for leg make I. This like don't I now? Balks he past the at endure can he hold the huff at in off goes he. Huff at in off goes he. Stroppy bugger, isn't he? It's Ahab. I hope he chills out a bit towards the end of the story because he's highly strung, isn't he? If this carpenter can fix his leg for him, maybe that's... I mean, it's been going on for several chapters now, this carpenter and Ahab's leg. I thought it was about a whale, not a leg. We're going to learn a lot about carpentry and prosthetics in the 19th century. Me with forward come, flask mister, stub mister, more no and, coffin that of boy life boy I make. This to thee possesses what? Away! Pitch pot with as hand his moving, sir, pitch with same that overpay then I shall and. Then I shall and, excuse me. I have to get it right, otherwise people get confused. I, corking iron with as hand his moving, sir, seems the cork I shall and. I, hammer with as hand his moving, sir, lid the down nail I shall and. It rig. Me here thou dost. Mean I, coffin the so me at look not do. Carpenter it rig. Pause melancholy after, Starbuck said. It for else nothing theirs, up it bring. Easily it arrange can here, carpenter the, Flask said. One enough, good a make will it. Stubbs said, say should I, that queer rather. Starting, Starbuck cried, coffin of lifeboy Coffin his concerning hint hinted, queequeg innuendos and signs strange certain by when. Boy with unprovided stern ships the leave to going were they. Therefore, be to prove might that whatever end final it's with connected directly was what but toil any of impatient were hands all. Voyage that of crisis approaching the seemed what of eagerness feverish the in as and found be could lightness sufficient of cask know as but it to see it to see to directed was Starbuck replaced be to now was life boy lost the. Nay, said Manxman old the again but. Before night the herd had they shrieks wild, those of reason, the knew they now that declared they, presaged already evil, and of fulfilment that as but, future that in evil of foreshadowing as not, it regarded they for. Portend as least at event this at grieved not were they aggrieved not were they, sought some in indeed. Time that at that of thought, perhaps few but, deep that in upswallowed was man that, ground peculiar own wiles white the on, whale white the for outlook to mast the mounted that pequod the of man first the thus and. One hard a but sooth in though, pillow his him yield to if as, bottom the to sailor the followed cask ironbound studied the and. Poor every, it's at filled also would parch that and. Filled slowly it that so, shrunken had it cask this upon beat long having sun the and. It seized to rose hand no but. Spring cunning at to obedient hung always it were. Stern the from dropped was, cask slender longer, lifeboy there. See the of blue in the bubbles white of heap tossed littler down looking and Ere that in phantom falling saw they, up looking and rushing at and cry a. Heard was cry a when, perch his at long been not had he. May it as that be, but telling no now there is there. Man the with thus was it weather. State transition in aloft go sometimes sailors for. Sleep his from waked half yet not was he that was it weather and. For the at masthead his to hammock his from went man this sunrise at. Morning that number there of one of fate that in confirmation plausible most are received to destined were crew that of bodings the but. Good grief. How long have I done? 10 is that all? 10 minutes? 10 minutes. Well, I thought we'd get this done tonight. I thought we'd finish the whole thing. 126 chapters left. But it seems this chapter's a bit longer than I expected, so let's plough on. Maybe chapter 125 is a bit briefer. Men for mistaken been once than more have seals, circumstances certain under, see that in, alongside water the from uprising peeringly seen, faces semi-intelligent, and heads round thereof look human the from also but. Distress in when tones peculiar there from only not arising, seals about feeling superstitious very a cherish mariners most because them of some affected more that only this but. Wail of sort human there with sobbing and crying, there with company kept and ship the nigh risen have must. Cubs there lost had that dams some or dams there lost had that seals young some and seals of numbers great of resort the were past had ship the islands rocky those. Wonder the explained thus and laughed hollowly he, meanings dark hinted with unaccompanied not, flask by him to recounted then was it, deck the two came he when, dawn grey till this of here not did Ahab hammock his in below. See that in men drowned newly of voices the were, heard were that sounds thrilling wild that declared. All of mariner oldest the, manxman grey the yet, unappalled remained harpooneers pagan the but, shuddered and mermaids was it said, crew the of part civilized or Christian the. Hearing within remained cry wild, that while slave Roman carved the like, listening transfixedly all leaned o'er, sat o'er, stood moments some of space the fore and, reveries there from started they, all and that one that, innocents murdered Herods, all of ghosts, the of wailings half articulated like, unearthly and wild plaintively so cry a by startled was, flask by headed then, watch the islets rocky of cluster a by sailing was, dawn the before goes that darkness deep that in and fishing ground equatorial that of, were it as outskirts that anear drew ship the when last as. Scene desperate and riotous, some preluding things calm strange the seemed these all. Mild monotonously waves over, winds trade unvarying by impelled sideways, long air and ships no descrying, waters unfrequented such through passage along so making, equator the towards path her on held pequod the, line and log level Ahab's by determined solely progress her and, steel levelled Ahab's by southeastward now steering. Lifebuoy the 126th chapter. Well, that was exciting. I'm not sure I understood a word of that. It's kind of hard to follow along when you're actually reading it backwards or forwards, so badly written is Moby Dick. I assume that it sounded like what they'd done there was thrown a lifebuoy overboard while sitting in a hammock discussing Herod, was it? Christians and Herod? It's a chapter of no consequence, as most of these are, to be perfectly honest. It's very much like the earlier episodes, I guess, of the that other great work of exploration, the the great American story of the unknown and one man's quest to discover the unseen, Star Trek: The Next Generation, in which many of the episodes are standalone stories, and perhaps through long stretches it's primarily standalone stories in which Captain Picard, taking the place of Ahab, steers his crew, nurtures them through good times and bad, successes and failures, until, I mean, I haven't seen Star Trek: The Next Generation, so I don't know what's going to happen. I'm two series through watching it. I assume Q is the whale. I'm guessing, and Queequeg is probably Wesley Crusher. Is he? Flask and Stubb are definitely Geordie LaForge and Commander Data. I mean, that's obvious. Their relationship is very clear. I missed the trick though, didn't I? I should have watched it backwards. I should have watched Star Trek backwards from the end to the start. But they keep making more of it, so by the time you finish watching it backwards, you'd be in the middle again, and you'd have to keep going back and watching what would eventually become a prequel to what you had already done. It'd just be terribly confusing. Shall we continue? The reason I do these little asides is to pad out the time, because obviously 125 chapters isn't enough to pad out the time. And also to prevent me going mad, because reading it backwards is mentally draining. As you should find out, you should try and do this yourself. Pick a book that you dislike to the point of wishing you'd never read it, and do exactly this. Do it live on the internet. For me, it about Stub Mr. Sea Isle, altogether line new I have, best had we think I. A, it mend. 2, dripping all, line rotten that of end the here's but. Weakness with daft other the, strength with daft one. Manxman old the muttered. Now one's daft to go there. What? Okay, another comic relief episode here with Flask and Stubb. Emperors and grasped I, though than hand black thy by these leading prouder feel I. Come, gratitude and love of things sweet that are full yet. Does he what not knowing and, idiotic though, man suffering of oblivious gods omniscient the sea. You lo, ill all man in and goodness all gods in believers ye. Lo, cabin my to then come. Here are than horrors worse to thee drag thereby should I unless thee I will nor boy oh. Go this let not will I for white the with one black the. Together hands to these rivet and come. Now Perth old let Sir O. By hold may souls weak that something man rope as Sir me to seems this. Lost been ne'er had he perhaps this as thing a kind so felt but Pip poor had now it feeling and hand Ahab's at gazing intently. Sharkskin velvet here's this what's? Down let's come, heartstrings my of woven cords, by me to tied art thou, boy. Centre inmost my touchest thou. lives Ahab while, henceforth home Pips be shall cabin Ahab's. Boy, here, libertines creative ye, him abandoned have and child luckless this beget did ye. Here down look, heavens frozen ye, oh, snowline the above hearts no be that can there. Coward the Pip seen whose? Ding! Oh, not again! This is what destroyed me last time. There is absolutely no need for this ding-dong-ding business. Every time Pip is in it... Oh, no. So I've just looked ahead, or behind, rather. This whole paragraph might be a non-starter. This will I'll do my best. Okay, I'm going to have a run-up at it. I might just have to stagger through this. We'll see how we get on. Coward the Pip seen whose? Ding dong ding! That by no quickest cowardly looks. High feet 5. Pip for reward. Clay of pounds 101. Pip, pip, pip. Ding dong ding! Ship's crier, Sir Bellboy. Oh, he's the bellboy. That's why it's all the ding dong ding. He's got the bells. Right. Okay. Now I understand. I thought it was just nonsense. I thought it was like Frank Sinatra or something, singing that ring a ding ding, Happy New Year. I thought it was all that business on the ship. I thought Pip was like the turn. I thought he was the cabaret act. Boy, thou art who... To be fair, I don't know what a bellboy is. I don't know what a bellboy's doing on a ship. Is that an official thing? Is that a nautical, member of the staff? There's no bellboy on the Enterprise. Not that I'm aware of. There is a bellboy in that episode where they get stuck in a recreation of a hotel/casino called the Royale. Is it the Royale? The Hotel Royale, I think it's called. I only know this because I watched it last week. Where, yes, Riker and Worf and Data get stuck in a casino which has been recreated by aliens to house a lost explorer from Earth who died centuries before, and his only possession was a copy of a trash novel called Hotel Royale. So the aliens recreate the Royale Hotel from the novel, thinking that it is their that it is our way of life, that is an exemplar of our standard of civilization. So they make this thing, end up torturing this poor explorer who dies in his bed, but then for some reason the others get stuck in there as well. The away team gets stuck in this casino, and the only way to get out of the casino is to buy the casino by winning loads of money. So they cheat their way to those. Spoiler alert: they escape. Would you believe, in series 2? So it's kind of a rip-off of 2001: A Space Odyssey, I guess. Except it makes less sense at the end. So, but there is a bellboy in the hotel. But my point was, there's a bellboy who is involved with Mickey. I don't know what his name is. Bad Mickey, the local mob boss, who has to come and do some shooting, some rooting and tooting and shooting, and kills off the bellboy or something. I don't know. It's all part of the novel, you see. I don't know if that novel exists. Maybe 2001: A Space Odyssey is actually stolen from the original novel, Hotel Royale. I'll have to look into it. Maybe Moby Dick is taken from Hotel Royale, and the bellboy here, Pip the bellboy, is trapped apparently permanently on a ship with Ahab because it is a construct designed to recreate Ahab's view of what his life would have been like had he been real, which none of this is. Not even me. Boy, thou art who? Through sieve to souls immortal for thing Abi should man that. God, oh! Eyes thy of pupils vacant that in reflection mine not see I. Boy, thou art who and? Lo, lo! Astern, sir, there, astern! Boy, was Pip thou sayest where? Holiness that from off hands. Advancing, Ahab muttered, lesser the scolds ever idiot, greater the. Quarter deck the from away! Armed the by him seizing, Manxman the cried, loon crazy thou, peace! Again, bored on get to trying, Pip hears, sir, sir, Ahab captain. Here cowards knowing haul we, off it cut, hatchet ah, water breaking, just arm his theirs, ho! Here cowards know in hall we, off him jerk, off him jerk, Tahiti, him jerk, on holding he's guess I, hard drags it, fisherman here up him fished. haven't ye if now let's missing pips, whaleboat the from jumped Pip ye call whom Pip, help to come, Pip, ha! Slow dragging and broken in come, out whirling and whole run lines these. Tahitian, in hall, world that of middle that of out loosening seems skewer the, me to but, happened nothing's him too. Now goes he there. It to see. Line the thou mend and log another make carpenter the let. Ye look and manxman reel up, Tahitian there in hall. All mend can Ahab but log line the parts see mad the now and needles the turn thunder the quadrant the crush eye. Gone was log tugging the festoon log one in down sagged line overstrained the snap. Oh snap. Hard hold! Strangely stagger to reelman old the caused log that of resistance towing the billows rolling that of by lowered and raised jerkingly turn in. Whirl to began reel the instantly then and a stern line dragging long at in out straightened rapidly coils loose the heaved was log the. So it with up. Last at heads inquiring, all butts wall blind, dead the. Reel the with up. What by? In sucked is which, man of unmanned now and man independent once in born man man from man man from man hears. Good its way other the well. Hey, man of isle the inn? There born was I but, sir, not know I. That by world the hit thou'st. Excellent! Sir, man of isle rocky little the inn. So you don't need to make excuses for the man of isle. Born thou wert where? Subservient to he's methinks but. College granite founded nature's queen in Professor Patched and now's there. That what's? Confess ne'er who'll superior with specially disputing while worth not 'tis mine of hairs grey these with, says Captain my as just but, sir, spool the hold I. It thou not, thee holds life, perhaps truer or. Hold to seemst thou, thee spoiled they have wet and heat long? Gentleman old, hold twill. It spoiled have wet and long heat. No, hang on, heat long. I misread it the first time as well. Heat long. Sorry about that. These spoiled they have wet and heat long? Gentleman old, hold twill. It spoiled have wet and heat long. Gone for looks line this. It mistrust I, sir. Speak to bold maid, line the and him both eyeing intently was who. Manxman old the when overboard toss to hand coil preliminary from 2 turns 40 or 30 some unwinding lightly was and him before stood Ahab. Him to advanced Ahab till downward hanging log angular the with stood so. Revolved line of spool the which round spindle the of handle ends projecting the by up high it holding and reel the took Manxman the. Sea sidelong rushing, creamy the into dipping almost now was. Wind the of energy oblique the with, deck the where, side lee, excuse me, side lee, ships the on, oh dear. Side lee, ships the on, stern extreme the towards went they. I'm sure I'm fine. I'm sure I'm absolutely fine. Heave isle, ye of one, reel the take. Manxman grizzly the and Tahitian golden hued the came seaman too. Log the heave! There, forward! Riots in rolled billows the astern, plungingly sailing the ship was ship there. Line and log level the about oath frantic his recalled, and more no was quadrant his how remembered he and seen magnet the after hours many not real the upon glance to happened he as Ahab seized mood his this all of heedless but idly so hung that thing a rot to combined had elements the all it warped had wind and sun it damped had spray and rains bullocks after the of railing the beneath just untouched long hung attached log angular and real wooden the Pequod the with thus been had it our every progression of rate average presumed the as well as ship the by steered course the slate customary the upon down putting regularly else anything than sake forms for more frequently and time same the at though log the heave to neglect wholly cruising when especially whalemen many and merchant many some place vessels the determining of means other upon reliance confident to owing use in between seldom very but had line and log the voyage this afloat long so been had Pequod fated the now while line and log the 125 chapter. Was that an orgy? Did I just read an orgy with a bellboy? I'm entirely confused. I guess they needed a bit of relief. You know, you spend a lot of time on that ship together, on that boat together, sailing off from Nantucket. You know, it could turn a guy's head. I worry for Pip. I worry for Pip. I don't think this is going to end well for Pip. Let's find out, shall we? Half an hour. We've done half an hour. I say we. You've done nothing. I've done half an hour. Pride fatal his all in Ahab saw then you, triumph and scorn of eyes fiery his in. Away slunk they another after one, and theirs as ignorance such persuade could eyes own there but nothing for, in peered they another after one. It swears compass that and, east is sunder, lodestone level that of Lord not be Ahab if yourselves for ye look, exclaimed it towards arm stretched his pointing and, binnacle the from back frankly stepped, result this for watching intently been had who, Ahab, when place it's to settled it last had but end either at vibrating and quivering round and round went steel the first at compass cards that of one over middle it's by sail needle the suspended horizontally and their needles reversed to the out slipped binnacle the to moving and thread linen for called he uncertain is crew that of ore that augment to intended merely or steel that of magnetizing the to indispensable weather it with motion strange small some through going then before as rod the holding still mate the time several that hammered strongly less and it of top the on endwise needle blunted the placed he rod iron this of end upper the smiting repeatedly after maul the with then deck the touching it's without upright it hold him bade remaining rod iron long the mate the to handing then and lance the of head steel the off knocked Ahab topmaul the from blow a with. I think they're going to get lost. They've screwed the compass. What are they going to do now? Away looked Starbuck but, and do you blame him? Follow might magic whatever awaited they eyes fascinated with and said was this as sailors the by exchanged were wonder servile of glances abashed. Any as true was point will that own his of one make and Ahab steal of bit this of out but needles Ahab's old turned thunder the men my demanded had he things the him handed mate the as crew the upon turning steadily he said men Portents evil and shuddering some without, sailors superstitious by overpast to be to thing and not was, practicable clumsily though, needles transpointed. You can't just make words up. Transpointed, but do you mean transplanted? Transpointed by steer to that new well man old the. Besides, compasses inverted that of that as wondrous so matter a in skills subtile his of stroke a by crew his of spirits the revived to be have might object whose motives prudential certain were due to about now was he thing the dictating impulse the two perhaps accessory. They've slowed from warp drive. Quick! Needles sailmakers that of smallest the and topmaul pole without lancer starbuck mister yet lodestone level that overlord is Ahab but so me wrecked have fain would compasses the today and thee wrecked I yesterday pilot sons and heaven gazer proud poor thou. Poor all of us. Deck the two dashed before day the had he quadrant that of sight tubes copper crushed the saw he heel ivory his with slip to chancing but reveries rolling in deck the walked man old the space afore Ahab's inflexible from hearts congenial their into shot magnetism certain with only was it impressed if awe unimpressed wholly almost remained harpooneers pagan the before ever as but fate of fear there than greater was Ahab of fear there. Rumbled lowly them of some, though, men that as for, acquiesced unmurmuringly likewise. Feelings his sharing be to then seem degree small some in who, flask and stub while, orders requisite all issued he quietly but, nothing said Starbuck. Thoughts, secret, own his were whatever. Meanwhile. Her juggling been only had one fair supposed the fore, wind opposing the into bows undaunted, her thrust pequod the more once and up hard were yards the accordingly changed be to course ships the for orders his outshouted, inverted exactly were needles the that satisfied and sun that of bearing precise the took now hand extended his of sharp the width man old the compasses transpointed the eyeing and binnacle the before standing deliberately. Are they idiots? Are they just crossing the equator and the compass has gone funny or something? Is that what happens? I don't know. I know water goes the wrong way down a plug hole. At least it does if your sink is a different shape. Kelson the into inserted one lowermost there were even. Ship that in be may that others that all reaches fate same the affected be compasses binnacle that if and. See, affected be compasses binnacle that if and. I told you. Lost or marred thus virtue original the recovers itself of again never needle the case either in but needle knitting wife's old and use more know of was steel magnetic before the that so annihilated being virtue lodestone it's all fatal more still been times that has needle they upon effect the rigging and spars that of some down smite to as so vessel the struck actually has lightning the where instances be should things such that as marvelled much be to not is it hence heaven in beheld electricity the with one essentially know all as is needle mariners the in developed as energy magnetic the storms violent in ships to occurred case one than more in have this like accidents that said be cards must it here gloomily mate pale the said sir me to happened it has before never but I take it I thing as such have heard now before hast thou all that compasses our turn thunder night's last Starbuck, mister, before happened has it. It have I, exclaimed laugh rigid with man old the, crew the among abroad out get could alarm wild first the air but. West going infallibly as was Pequod the, and east pointed compasses to the. Lo, and looked Starbuck him behind standing, stagger to seemed almost he moment afore, fell slowly, arm uplifted his. Compasses the of glimpse one caught Ahab, binnacle that into way half head his thrusting. Cause the bean have must palpableness blinding very its butt. Else one every escaped unaccountably had Ahab by observed then just phenomenon the fore. Confounded was soul every this upon. A stern sun the and, morning that in hour this at east heading, fist clenched his with him smiting. Liest thou? Steersman frightened the said, Sir, east sou'east. Heading was ship the how demanding huskily, helm the towards hurried he, thought counter some by back rein suddenly but. See the drive I, tandem hallo! Billows further the on yoke. Ye to sunder bring I, prow my before nations ye all, ho ho! Sunder of sea chariot the fore, now taken be well mightiest thou, ship my, ha ha! Wake undeviating his with blending were rays yellow, same the how and, place rearward suns the saw and, behind turned he. Stern the by settled profoundly she when and ahead produced rays suns bright the eye to turned he. Bowsprit her down pitched loweringly, ship teetering the time every and. Apart stood Ahab, silenced enchanted and maintaining long. Heat and light with leaps babblingly. Heat and light with leaps babblingly that. Gold molten of crucible as was see the. Everything overrained, queens and kings Babylonian crowned of as. Emblazonings. Stacks in unmoved raised bayonet his wear. Place his of intensity spread the by known only was sun invisible the. Light morning full the in muffled. Wind the before boomed world holder. Sails out bellyingly. Vast seemed air and sky that, so abounded breeze unstaggering, strong the outspread palms, giants like on her pushed, track gurgling pequods that in striving and, bulk mighty of billows slow long in rolled seas, not yet subsidized, not yet subsidized, no one's paying for this, in rolled sea, incidentally if you want to pay for this, feel free, not yet subsided the morning next. Needle the. Chapter 124. No, I did it wrong. I'm going to have to start the whole chapter again. Let's go back. No, I'll just start it from here, shall I? Needle the 124 chapter. That's the second time that's happened. I keep making mistakes with the titles of chapters. I get so relieved to have finished a chapter that I just throw it. If I make too many mistakes, I'm just going to have to go back to the start. Yeah, I don't know why no one's paying for this. People can pay for this. There is a link down there that says coffee/something. You can pay for it if you want. You know. All the money will go to I'll buy a coffee. I guess. I got plenty of coffee, actually. I'm not sure what I'd spend the money on. It's a moot point because no one's going to pay for this until it gets bought up by, BBC for highbrow television as it is. Thing is, this is going to take quite a while. I mean, what's this? 3/4 of an hour. This is episode 5. This is probably my... What's 5 times 1? 5. This is my 5th hour of doing this. It's going to be... What is it going to be? 100 hours, 80 hours or something long. That's more than would fit on a Blu-ray probably. I'm not sure anyone would would watch this start to finish. But I like to think it's the sort of thing you can dip in and out of, given that none of it makes sense anyway. It doesn't really matter where you start. You could start at chapter 30 and just, unread your favourite bit. It might be that you've only read Moby Dick part of the way through and then gave up. If you very sensibly got to chapter only, say, 50 of 135 and then gave up, you may still feel aggrieved that you did read the 50 chapters that you did read, not like the 135 chapters and an epilogue that I read. So I feel the need to have to unread all of it. But you could jump in later and start from chapter 50 and work back with me and just unread the bit that you had self-inflicted with at that point. Or it might be that you don't remember a lot of the book and you could just dip in and out. The bits that do ring a bell, you could unread those to make sure they've gone from your mind. But then there's a danger that you would catch a few bits that you had never read or that you didn't remember reading, and then you would have unread it without ever having read it, which would mean you had anti-read it. You'd have negative readings of certain parts of Moby Dick, and if there was a reckoning, you would be forced to then read parts of it forward to make up for the deficit. Moby Dick is a conserved quantity. There is only so much Moby Dick in the universe. So me unreading this is paying back some of the dick that I have taken on in my past and bringing balance to the universe. Like the Jedi, what's his name? Will Wheaton. Say to what knowst thou? Here deck the two sea. I don't know if I'll finish this chapter. Is this a short chapter? No, it's a hell of a chapter. Okay, well, let's crack on. I have 13 minutes left. I don't have any pictures to show you this week because my regular contributor, Dark Blue Monkey, has not submitted one. I'm very disappointed. I'll get on him for next week. His art was getting much better, and I'd like to see his latest, what he's produced this week. If you want to submit a picture, by the way, you can do. You can find me on Twitter at Barry Skellen, or you can not. It's up to you, entirely up to you. Say to what knowst thou? Here deck the to sea must I. Him tell and, him wake and, down thou go, stub mister, asleep sound to he's. Place the left and rack it's in death tube. Oh my goodness, they've got the death tube out. Oh no, this isn't going to end well. Any time they get the death tube out, anything could happen in this chapter. I'm thrilled. Let's get on with it. Place the left and rack it's in death tube. The placed he. Door the from turning but angel and with wrestling seems Starbuck. Panel that against armed drunkards alike shook musket levelled yet the. Speak to dream dumb long the caused had voice Starbucks if as. Sleep tormented man's old that out from hurtling came now that sounds the were such. Last at heart thy clutch eye, Dick Moby oh, all stern. Course her heads she, set and reefed our topsails, main and fore the sail. Sir. I'm losing it. For the sir. Shifted and down gone has wind the. I shall. Thou art where, God great? Crew the all with, sink may weekday. This body Starbucks deeps unsounded, what to tell can who? Man old, death to not thee wake I, if but boy, Mary. That's not a boy's name. Oh, Mary, oh. Again, child and wife his hug to survive may Starbuck and toucher, weigh this head his, within swings hammock Ahab's, level this on. Door that against end muskets loaded the placed he, looking sideways, half and stealthily, slowly, and if then murderer be I would and together skin and sheets tindering bed his in murderer would be a strikes lightning it's when murderer a heaven is. So 'tis I, law and me between continent whole and oceans too with. Sea open and upon here alone stand I, nearest the Japan locked hand. Away leagues of hundreds is land there. Remains then what? Voyage intolerable, long the on me leave would reason inestimable, itself sleep, comfort all. Howlings this fly possibly not could. Sight the endure not could I, then tiger caged, and then hideous more be would he. Floor cabin this on cabin this on ring bolts to down chained. Hawsers and ropes with over all knotted, even pinioned were he say. It try would fool at only. Hands living own his from power living man's old this rest to hope? What? Home taken be to prisoner a him make. Way lawful no, way other no there is but, forbid, God great. Ahab's are us of all sayst, vow thy vowed have men there sayst, and I. Breathest? Maybe we should transpoint the needles. Breathest thou all is this, commands flat own thy to obedience flat, scornest thou this all, to hearken thou wilt entreaty not, remonstrance not, reasoning not, man old then thee withstand can't I, again awake soon and alive still, but I, sleeping he's therein, there just yes, sleep his in muttering he is? Ha! His be not would crime that, aside put. Instant this were he, then if way his have Ahab if will ship this swears soul my harm deadly to come and harm deadly any to come ship this if more and men 30 of murderer wilful the him make would it yes. Him with doom to down company ships whole a drag to suffered tamely be man old crazed this shall but excuse me, lightning rods no have would he that swear not he did typhoon very this is and this in and nearly made a mistake there. Log error abounding that of reckoning dead mere by way his not he gropes, seas perilous same these in and quadrant heavenly his dash not he has, gale any to spars his strike not will he say not he does, crew his all kill fain would he and I. Now handle I thing very the with me killed have would he. Here it hold I. One this, one very the. Me at pointed he tube the very. Oh, not the death tube. Fish accursed that for fair only that's wind fair at its. Dick Moby for fair that's. Doom and death for fair. Fair how but? Him to wind fair a report to come I. Think I while boldly musket the hold I'll this of myself cure I'll. Wait, it spill best? Good not that. Pan the in powder and I, see must I, loaded? Now so shake should I that strange lances deadly many so handled have who I that strange? It lift, it touch let me let, oh good grief, it touch me let. Stock studded the with one that me at pointed he that musket very the theirs yes, murmured he. Oh, it should have been murmured. Shall I murmur it? I'll murmur it. Me pointed yes, murmured he. Once me shot have would he. I think that's enough. I think I'm going to leave it there. He would have shot me once. It was a forward thing. Once me shot have would he. That's an exciting place to leave it, because once me shot have would he would have happened in the past, which means we're about to get to the time when he once me shot have would. So that's something, that's a cliffhanger. That's practically a cliffhanger. That, as far as this Dick Moby rubbish is concerned, that constitutes a cliffhanger. So there we shall leave it. Wow, exciting, thrilling. I have no idea what's happened in this story in the last 3 chapters. Ding dong ding, said Pip, the bellboy. What is this? What is this about? It's nonsense. I'll be back on Friday to continue. I hope you will too. This will be on YouTube shortly. As usual, there are buttons all over, probably below, maybe some above. There may be a few, if you're watching on Twitch, they might be down there, or maybe down there. There's somewhere, but if you go through them all systematically and click every single one of them, that's how the algorithm knows that this is a top quality piece of entertainment. And then, you know, the BBC will be knocking on my door. I'm amazed it hasn't reached the BBC front page so far. I mean, what have we had on there? We've had middle class lady does yoga for puppies. We've had man runs on spot every day forever, except that now he does it on Twitch. I mean, who are these people? What are they contributing? And this is what I'm doing. I don't believe anyone's ever done this. Not to the same extent. I'm sure people have read things backwards before. I mean, I've read things backwards before, but this is on a different scale. This is something I think people need to see, and I think the BBC should pick this up. Having said that, my viewing figures have been steadily dropping over time. In fact, YouTube even took away some of my views from the previous episodes. Episode 2 had reached over 200 views. 200 views! I mean, that's pretty good in this day and age. I don't know where my check has got to, but that's pretty good. But then the next day, a couple of days ago, I refreshed it to see the figures, and it had gone back down to 170. I can only assume people have unwatched this, which would mean that they've, in doing so, inadvertently read some of Moby Dick forwards. And if they'd already read Moby Dick, it's like they've read it twice. Imagine reading this twice. Now they're going to have to unread that bit again, and then unread the whole thing if they've read it before, which they may have. Otherwise the universe will be unbalanced and whales will spontaneously appear in mid-air, in the middle of cities. Probably because the pollution's all gone. You know, the nature's returning to the cities. Yeah, great, maybe the goats in Llandudno, but nobody envisaged a whale falling from Welwyn Garden City's, I don't know, what have they got? Library? Have they got a library? Yeah. It fell out of the library. Anyway, click all the buttons, that's what I was getting at. And join me again on Friday when we shall continue and find out what, I don't know, something else in reverse. Who knows? I didn't write this shit. Night.